me? Are they going to lose this game? We got this interview scheduled. I wanted you to go in there so bad.
We wanted to take them down before anyone else did.
What is an NFL quarterback room like?
So 2 years ago, I trained Sam Darnold and Josh Allen and Kyle Allen. That was my draft class.
I think that this league is filled with opportunities, and the guys that stay in the league for a long time are the guys that take advantage of those opportunities.
I'm just a big believer in repetition.
And I'm a big routine guy, and goals never end.
I'm just a big
And I'm a big routine guy, and goals. Once I stepped on that field today, it was good, man. Welcome back to The Room, episode 5. Kyle Allen here, Jordan Palmer. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you're not new to the show, welcome back. Episode 5. I didn't know if we were going to make it past episode 2 or 3. You had
That's
a lot more
not true.
I'm just saying, you're holding me hostage at this point, but this is The Room. You know, this is the concept is we're in the quarterback room. We want to bring everyone into the quarterback room. It's where the most interesting conversations happen every week. But really, it's not always about football. It's about random topics. It's about what's going on social media. But then it's also about the most important conversations in the entire building. So we want to take you into our minds, take you into some of the top quarterbacks' minds in the leagues before they're going into their most interesting matchups as well. This week, we're going to be interviewing Tyler Van Dyke. We're really excited to get to talk to him. A guy that you and me don't really know, Jordan. I think we try to dig up a bunch of stuff on him and find out stuff on him, but we just don't really know that much about him. So,
well, the only things I know about Tyler Van Dyke is I crossed paths with him at Elite 11, but that's 20 years times 15 guys, right? And I just know that, like, whether it's somebody on the Elite 11 staff, somebody at Miami, somebody, you know, who's trained him, somebody, like, the consensus is like everybody's going, this is a guy right here. And that's why, you know, when we were talking about guests and all that stuff, because we got some amazing guests lined up, it was like, hey, this is a great person to bring in, because if you and I don't know much about this guy, there's no way anybody else does. And yet all the smart people I talk to who know him all say the same thing, which is like, this is going to be a guy like have a great season if he needs another year. If not, high draft pick, plays really well for a long time in the NFL type of guy. So I'm excited. We're going to, you know, he's going to be for some people's map. This will put him on their map. He's going to put himself on the map, but I'm excited for people to get to know him. I'm excited to get to know him better.
Yeah, big opportunity for him this weekend, going against A&M. Obviously, A&M lost last weekend, which is a bummer for them.
Dude, that was such a bummer. I remember I get a text from Mike, A&M about to go down. He has no idea that we're interviewing Tyler. And I'm like, A&M's going to lose. No way. Who are they playing? And I look up, I'm like, App State. And I'm like, wait, no.
Don't schedule App State ever. Don't ever schedule App State. Don't give them any money to come to your stadium. They'll ruin your entire life.
No, don't do it. If App State calls you and you're a big time school and they say, we'll give you $1.5 million to come to your school and play.
Maybe.
You're right. Then maybe take it. But other than that, don't play App State. They will be.
Or Marshall.
They'll get you.
Don't do Marshall either. But yeah, pumped for that conversation. With The Room, go to our YouTube channel. This is on YouTube right now if you're watching this. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's super important to subscribe. Going to be coming out with videos weekly. We're on Instagram. It's The Room with Kyle and JP, or The Room with Kyle and Jordan. Go follow our Instagram. Go get us on TikTok. Fire up our numbers. Keep this going. We're trying to keep this going, get you interesting matchups every week, interesting guests. We got a bunch of cool guys lined up. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the conversation so far. But we're stoked to see where this goes, and hopefully we can do this for a while. So.
Yeah, and I'm just going to say this, Kyle. Like, we believe a lot in confidence as a player. I talk about it a lot as a coach. You believe it as a player and all that stuff. But, like, we think this thing's going to pop. So we either need you to like it and subscribe it, or give us the feedback of what would make this cooler. So do that either way, because we just want to bring the most interesting conversation in football right here every single week.
Yeah, and I'm super insecure too, so I'm in the comments. Don't worry, I'm always looking.
He's in his feelings. He's in his own head. He's in all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Should we get to the first segment? Opening drive. Coach's script. Let's dive into it. So here's some storylines from this week. Kyle, you guys tied. Houston Texans. You're undefeated. What happened?
I've never tied a game before. Have you ever tied a game?
Dude, I got a good story. I was in Cincinnati, and we're playing Donovan McNabb and the Philadelphia Eagles. and we go to overtime, and we get towards the end of overtime. And there was, it's to put any game that ends in a tie. And by the way, this was the first tie in forever. It was like not a thing. Like you got to have some missed field goals, some bad decisions, like some stuff's got to happen to play 5 quarters and nobody won, right? And so we're on the sideline getting ready for the second overtime, and Marvin Lewis brings up special teams, brings up the captain. We're all on the sideline getting ready for the second overtime. And then they go down, somebody misses a field goal, and the referee says the game's over. And we all look at each other like, there's no double overtime? There hadn't been a tie. So then Donovan McNabb has the press conference, and he says, I didn't even know you could end in a tie. I was getting ready for second overtime. And the media filleted him. How do you not know the rules? What an idiot. You're in your 10th year and you don't know the rules. And we're all laughing going, shit, we didn't know the rules.
Yeah, you're in the same boat. You're sitting the same way.
He's guilty. We have no idea.
Over the couple of years, though. I think I remember that game because there was like a span where it didn't happen. And that was when I was in grade school playing ball in high school. And you're always going to overtime. And I remember how dumb I thought that was. And it's the same thing, like you said, so much crazy stuff's happened. We're up 20-3 in the fourth quarter. It was a bummer that we couldn't close out the game that we wanted to. They come back. Matt Ryan plays out of his mind in the fourth quarter, gets them back. We go into overtime. Their kicker actually missed the game-winning field goal in overtime from about like 40 yards away, or it might have been regulation. I don't even remember. But it's like that feeling afterwards. Like we knew a tie was imminent. Like unlike you guys, we understood the tie was a thing. And so after the game, like, you're usually like bummed about a loss, or you're just like pumped about a win. You're going out and japping all your homies, but like the energy was just so weird of a tie. You're just like, especially the first game of the season where you've been game planning these guys. We've been game planning them since April, and then we go out and we're just like, it felt like it was completely pointless to even play the game. We just got out of it and we were like, what the hell just happened, dude? And then like you go in the locker room and literally like, even after a loss in the locker room, people are talking, like, everyone was dead silent. No one even knew what to say after that. It was such a bummer, dude.
Yeah, I think that's it.
My first tie.
Yeah, you don't know how am I supposed to react to this?
Yeah.
Like nobody's stoked that they didn't lose, right? But we didn't win. And then plus, like, they should just eliminate the tie anyways. And I get it's for injuries and all that stuff, but the competition committee's got to get rid of ties, because then just like statistically a tie, and then this is the breaker and it's all that, like,
is that what the reasoning is behind it? Is it an injury?
Oh, thing? I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure it's people going, we don't want to play. We're going to get the. I'm sure there's data on the amount of plays that players play, and
the Colts literally had 92 offensive plays. 92.
Yeah, like somebody's going to get hurt.
You don't hear about that ever. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So, anyways, so the bottom line is, dude, congrats.
Undefeated.
Like, it's a question.
Number 1 in the AFC South. Number 1.
So you're undefeated, and my son's flag football team's undefeated because they got rained out on Friday. So no one's beat us yet. We're the Bills.
Was he bummed that he didn't get to play?
Yeah, he was bummed. We're the Buffalo Bills, and he wanted to be number 17. So, so that will be a Instagram post coming. All right, Russell Wilson. Got to talk about it. We talk about it in our own time. Might as well talk about it here. And my whole thing in media, in content, in anything is I don't talk shit on people, but for a lot of reasons. But if I had to put like the top 10 videos on Instagram that I've ever seen that are like cringeworthy and make me feel weird, Russ has like 4 of them. And
at least 4. What's the number 1 though? Is it Mr. Unlimited?
It's Mr. Unlimited. Yeah, and we got a deals number 2, but like but there's been other ones that weren't as like famous where it's like, hold on a second. And we could go for 40 minutes on this, but can we talk about what he wore to the game from Monday Night Football? Now,
003.
How and then the caption 003. Come on.
It's tough, man. It's tough. But the one thing you can say about the guy is, I mean, he's getting shit for it every time he does it, and he does not care. So
he's the ultimate, like, just be you, bro. Like,
committed to it.
And he's like, oh, I am.
Yeah. Don't worry, I am being me. Let me show you. Oh,
yeah,
God.
Follow me on social.
I remember talking to him. He came up to me pregame one time when I was playing, and where was it? I think it was in Carolina. We were playing them. I was starting the game, and he came up to me pregame, and he like dapped me up, and I think he said like 70 words in the span of like 30 seconds. Like, hey man, good luck. Hey, you've been playing great out there. Good job. Like, hey, all glory to God, man. Like, let's go. And like, and he was gone. And I was like, what the fuck just happened? Dude is like, he's all time. I don't get it. But he is him.
He's one of one. He's one of the best players in this league, in my opinion. Like not one of the best quarterbacks. He's one of the best players in this league, in my opinion. But that outfit, I mean, a lot of thought went into that, right? Like, what am I wearing? I'm going back to Seattle. I'm doing this. So the chrome tuxedo, I guarantee the caption was thought about when the outfit was picked out. There's just I have no way of proving it, but there's just no way that that's not true. So 003 walkout. We recorded this before the game was played, so we don't know the outcome of the game. Let's shift gears here. Talk about two other quarterbacks, two really good players, Dak Prescott, Mac Jones. Both these guys go down week 1. Let's not get into like surgery and timelines and schedule, all that stuff, but just look, you're the backup quarterback for the Houston Texans. I was a backup in my NFL career. Like, how crazy is it that teams don't value the backup quarterback? So let's say that Dak's out for the year, and he's not, but let's say that he's out for the year. Okay, so the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that were spent this year, not just on players, like on everything. For the season, you're just going to go, oh, damn, one of our players got hurt. And I know the quarterback's not just a player, but like one of our players got hurt. Like, how crazy is it that every team isn't like all in on their backup quarterback? Because it's kind of like an extension cord, a spare tire, an iPhone charger. Like, it's not that big a deal unless you really need it. How crazy is this?
I mean, I've talked to some people, and I think you've had some more conversations where there's some mindsets where the backup quarterback is the second most important roster spot on the team in some people's minds. Not in a lot of people's minds, but there is some people who believe that, and they really value that. And then a lot of people will put guys in there who are going to help the starter, like they'll bring in old vets who maybe not be that great, but they can help the starter out. But to your point, I mean, I just keep going back to the guys like my year when Cam went down and he got hurt. Like, I mean, you could say the same thing about them. I was an undrafted free agent at that point in my second year who had only played one game, and I was the backup quarterback. You could say the same thing. I ended up playing well that year for a decent amount of time. But my year also, Drew goes down. Drew Brees with the same exact injury as Dak. He has a thumb injury. Teddy Bridgewater, who is a proven starter in the league, who the Saints decided to invest in that year, goes in and goes 5-0 for them in Drew's rehab time and sets him up for the playoffs. And I think it's just stupid to not have somebody in there who you really trust and who has like a staff you feel like they're going to go out and win the game. I think I saw McCarthy come out and say, I have a list of every available quarterback in the league in my back pocket right now. So that's you sitting there telling me that you don't believe in Cooper Rush to go get the job done.
No, that's Mike McCarthy going, we've got a backup plan that we have to start right now working on.
Right.
Like, we got to meet on this and decide and then make phone calls and then put a deal together and do all this stuff. Like, that shit ain't happening by tomorrow morning. And then when's that guy going to learn the offense? And then when is he going to be up to speed? And then when is he going to figure out exactly how that receiver likes coming out of that break? It's freaking nuts. And you mentioned New Orleans, and that was where it worked, right? Like, they had Teddy Bridgewater, thank God. The year they won the Super Bowl, you know who their backup quarterback was?
Who?
Mark Brunell in year 18 with 100 bajillion career starts and an AFC champ. Like, some guys just get it and they go, we got to address pass rush. We got to make sure that our secondary, we got to make sure that our left guard has, that we got 6 linemen so we can have a swing. But hold on a second here. Here's 2 teams whose season might be over 2 or 3 weeks into the year. Poof, gone. Season tickets, jersey sales, wins and losses. All of it, poof, gone. And
you think about their situations though too. Dak, right? 6 to 8 weeks. Mac, he might be able to play next week, but say he's out for 3 weeks, right? Like, if you have a guy who can get it done, right? All you got to do is keep us in contention, right? You don't need to go 6-0. You can go 3-3, win some games for us. Like, you just need to have that guy in your room that can keep us in contention and can give you a chance to win the game. And if you're just looking over that spot and just bringing guys in that, oh, maybe we'll develop him and maybe he'll be ready to play in a couple of years and to fill that void. It's just disrespectful to your team at that point to not have a guy in there.
I'm like thinking about this as you're talking. So you talk about Teddy Bridgewater comes in and goes 5-0, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I mentioned Mark Brunell. Think about, I was watching the Saints Falcons game and Jameis got hurt and it was like, you know who was getting ready to go in?
Andy Dalton. Like I'm just going to shout out Mickey Loomis right now. Like, come to think of it, we prepared for the show and put thoughts together. I didn't even think about it till now. It's like Mickey Loomis gets it. And he had Chase Daniel there forever, who was balling in the preseason, who was he was living in Drew Brees' back pocket. Like, everyone had confidence that Chase Daniel could go in there and win them a stretch. So shout out Mickey Loomis on understanding something that clearly the Jones family doesn't understand, the Kraft family doesn't understand. And I mean, we'll see what happens there, the backup there. But like, yeah, and people say, well, there's only 32 of these jobs. I think we need to get on the next topic, but I think you and I are saying is like, no, there's only 64 of these jobs. And yeah, exactly.
There's 64 dudes who can do this if you develop them, which is why I joined the XFL staff to help develop the next generation of quarterbacks. Plug, blah, blah, blah. Go to 1-800-blah-blah-blah.com/XFL. But anyways,
before we move on, I think my mind immediately, when I heard the news, my mind immediately went to Jimmy G, right? Does it make sense? And it went from like a Cowboys Jimmy G, like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. But the more I think about it, like, does it make sense for Jimmy G to go to the Cowboys?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because
you think so?
Yeah, because if they well, hold on. Okay, so let's have this debate from Cowboys' perspective, from Jimmy G's perspective, from Niners' perspective. From Cowboys' perspective, it makes total sense. Do we agree?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Although Cooper Rush looked pretty good, I just don't know. And then from Jimmy G's perspective, this is the last year of his contract. He's unrestricted free agent. So is it better to come in? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Now, if he comes in week 4, poor performance, injury in San Fran, that's a Super Bowl roster with the right quarterback.
Yeah.
TBD on if they got the right quarterback. I don't know. Time will tell. But if you're the Niners, I don't think it makes sense. Because
I get that from
the
Jimmy's
other day, where we're headed, like, I don't know. So, that's going to be interesting. But if I'm Jimmy, I'm going, I'll throw to 88. I'll hand it to 21.
Yeah, it's interesting. You probably got to look at the schedule right there and see, all right, Dak's going to be out 68 weeks. Here's these games. Like, such a weird time where you got to be selfish and think about, can I ball out in these 6 to 8 games and get myself somewhere else? But
yeah, is it if I'm going to go in and play, is it better for me to wait until I think I might get a chance to play in San Fran, or go get thrust into this new situation with this new offense and I don't know these people?
It's tough. Interesting. I mean, they're putting out calls for sure, so we'll see. On to the next thing, Lamar. Obviously, the whole Lamar situation is super weird. Even from the draft, how he never had an agent. I think it was him and his mom working together. All the storylines around that, and then, former MVP hasn't gotten an extension done on his rookie deal. He's on his 5th-year option at this point, which is crazy that he even got to that point, right? Kyler Murray's already gotten a deal, and he got drafted after him. Reports are that he turned down a 5-year, $250 million contract with $133 million guaranteed at signing. I think the main hang up of what people are saying is he wants the guaranteed money, similar to what Deshaun got, similar to what Kirk Cousins has been pushing for. When you see this deal from your perspective, like if you're Lamar, what do you think about him turning it down just because of the guarantee?
So I got to say this because sometimes you and I have inside information on stuff. And so I have no inside information on this other than every single thing that he's done has been different and outside the box. So when people say that his mom's representing him, you got to factor in, and there's been pieces on this, but like his mom was like setting up cones in the park and all the boys in their neighborhood were coming and she was putting them through training sessions. Like, this is not the typical, like, I love your parents. They're like family to me, Kyle. You know what I mean? Like, but this isn't the same relationship that you had with your mom. This is not the same relationship that Carson and I had with Dana, right? So it's a very unique situation. But I just know, like, when he got his Oakley deal done, that was like his first marketing deal or his second marketing deal. This is like 2 or 3 years after he won the MVP. And my concern is that not wanting to get ripped off or do a bad deal has left a lot of money on the table. And you can't debate that. So if Lamar Jackson has very few marketing deals, this is a guy who's an incredible story, Heisman Trophy, first-round pick, MVP, never been in trouble. You can't find anybody saying anything bad about this guy. He doesn't party. He doesn't – like, this is the best-case scenario. This is the American dream story right here out of Dade County, Florida, and he's – you know what I mean, where he's at right now. This is incredible. This is one of the best stories in football. Like, and that guy doesn't have – he's not like top 10 in marketing. Well, then there's been millions left on the table. That is like something that you like talk about and you go, oh, bummer, or I hope that's this leaving whatever the offer is on the table to be a running quarterback who's not big going in your year 5, right?
Yeah.
Year 5,
going in your
fifth year option. And it's not like just play out this year and you'll be a free agent. They can tag him twice. So like for me, I'm sitting here going, man, and I talked to enough agents to know that no one's talking to him, to know that like everybody has these concerns, and the Ravens love him. They have these concerns too. So my biggest concern here is like, and then I'm afraid of is that like, just nothing's happening. There's not some ulterior motive. It's not that he's not trying to get out of there. It's not that he's not trying to get this amount. It's just that a deal didn't get reached. And that sounds crazy, but he's one of my favorite players in this league to watch. And this is just like, this should not be happening right now kind of vibe. Yeah.
And it's crazy. We think of when we look at these numbers, right? It's like, 133 million guaranteed. Like when people see these, they're like, how is he not taking this? This is ridiculous. This is so much money. But then you look at the other numbers, like Deshaun getting 230 million guaranteed, Kirk getting his entire contract guaranteed. And then you go into your 5th year as a running quarterback, right? And maybe he's thinking like, the longer I wait around, the longer I wait, the more money there's going to be, right? Every year the salary cap goes up. There's going to be more money on the table. Every quarterback that gets a new deal, there's more money on the table. So maybe he's taking it from that perspective and betting on himself. But in my opinion, it's just like, especially in your 5th year, like 5th year option, like the risk of injury is just like, it's tough, but he's betting on himself. So we'll see how that plays out. They had a great game against the Jets this weekend. They won big.
So let's talk about that, right? Because the guy that was before him, Joe Flacco, bet on himself, right? Didn't get a deal done, bet on himself, and then he won a Super Bowl and he got paid.
Right.
But to that point, Joe Flacco was not Lamar Jackson. He never had an MVP. That guy was never. He never got a vote. Like, my point on this is when somebody says bet on him, he's betting on himself. It's like, we're past that point. He doesn't have to. Like, why is he making any bets? Like,
well, then
just
are you
give me all the
surprised
money.
from the Ravens' point of view that they're not offering more guaranteed money?
I just don't believe what's reported.
Yeah,
because like, anytime any contract, whether it's a contract that's been signed, a contract that's been proposed, a contract that was supposedly proposed gets leaked, you and I know, man, we know these agents, like they're smart, they're good, they understand PR, they understand those things.
Yeah.
I don't, if his camp is just him and his mom and other people, they haven't been doing this for a living. It's not even about how smart or hardworking somebody is. They haven't been doing it for the last 30 years and weren't classically trained by somebody who did it for the 30 years before them. So my concern here is that all this stuff's happening and there is no plan. And like maybe more than money than that's been offered. My gut here is he wants out. He wants to go somewhere else. Maybe he wants to go be the Dolphins quarterback. Like if that doesn't work, but the problem is like they got you for 2 more years, bro. They can tag you twice. Ask Kirk Cousins.
Easily. And Kirk loved that. I don't know if he loved it, but he made a lot of money doing that. But also, my last thought on this, from the Ravens' perspective too, right? You've essentially committed your entire organization to Lamar Jackson, not only in like from a quarterback perspective, but from an offensive perspective, right? You've changed the culture of what you do on offense and defense there. You have totally changed that team. And so for them, they have 2 years left on the tag, but to get a deal done or to not get a deal done and possibly have him go somewhere else, and then you have to basically build from the ground up. It's not a plug and play type deal. You got to build from the ground up, maybe find a new coordinator, find a whole new system, whole new philosophy, because the way they play offense affects the way they play defense as well. They run the shit out of the ball, and that helps out their defense.
For those who watch and don't know this, I mean, the offensive coordinator, Jeep Chris, was, ever heard of Colin Kaepernick? He was the OC with John Harbaugh's brother, Jim, in San Fran when the zone read and pistol even entered college football. This is Lamar Jackson leaves, that new team needs to hire this guy. This guy created all this stuff. Like, I think you're absolutely right. This whole thing is built around them. Another thing interesting is like Hollywood Brown getting traded. Like, is Lamar mad at Baltimore for them doing that? Did Hollywood Brown say, I want out and I want to go somewhere else? Man, there's a lot of smoke here coming out of Baltimore, which has traditionally been a very stable, very conservative, very predictable, and very successful. They're always good. Very successful.
He's also handled it in a way, though, that's very Baltimore-esque. He hasn't been complaining about it. He's said he's pushing his offseason, and he's acting like it's not a big deal. So who knows?
Awesome. Let's talk about another quarterback situation. Michigan. Let me get my thoughts in order for this to not say too much.
Yeah, I'll go first, so you can go off on this one. Just from the quarterback perspective, from a quarterback battle perspective, you've been in a lot of quarterback battles. I've been in a lot of quarterback battles. I don't think I've ever seen one go into the season. And from just a team point of view, it's just like, it's hurtful to the team to bring this into the season. I guess you can view these two games, who they played. I think they played Hawaii, and I can't remember who they played in the first game. It was a nobody. You can treat them as preseason games, essentially, I guess, right? But as you see with A&M, you can't treat any game like preseason game. But to bring it into the season as Cade as your captain, and I know J.J. McCarthy is obviously a super talented player, and he played really well against Hawaii. But to bring this into the season and put this on the rest of your team and the rest of your players, and you don't know who's going to lead your team at the most important position in the entire place. And as your quarterback, like your starting quarterback, you don't know who's going to be that guy the whole year. Like, you're f***ing your team over at that point.
Just look at the decision to go about it this way. So let's just go backwards. You want to look forwards? What's happened in the past? Last year, Michigan had a historic year. I don't remember all the stats and all that stuff, but the only game they lost during the season was to Michigan State. Cade threw for 385 yards and I think 3 or 4 touchdowns in that game. Right? And JJ fumbled at the end. Fumbles happen. It happens, right? But they lost that game. And then they get smoked in the college football playoff. But in the college football playoff, they beat Ohio State. They win the Big Ten. They go there. So what's broken? What do we need to change offensively? And by the way, that was all without Bell. They're one of their superstar receivers, Ronnie Bell. And he's back this year. So they basically got better on offense. So they create this quarterback competition. I've got a lot of thoughts that I just wish I could just dump on here. But what are we switching? What are we doing here? Cade's voted a captain.
Bro, don't fix it.
And by the way, Cade getting voted a captain at Michigan, I didn't realize it's a much bigger deal at Michigan to be a captain than it is at other schools. I was a captain in college, and if you were to I don't even know if I was a captain once, twice, 3 times. I don't know. I don't remember. At Michigan, it's a huge deal. And so you look at what happened last year. You look at all those things. I think, unfortunately, this is transfer portal issue 101 of if a dude's not going to be the starter, he's going to leave. This happened to our boy Sam. Sam was a redshirt freshman at USC. They were opening up the season at Alabama, or at Jerry's World versus Alabama, and Clay Helton decided to go with Max Brown. And there was a big difference between Sam Darnold and Max Brown. I love Max. There's a huge difference. Sam's the 3rd pick in the draft. And he went with Max for 3 weeks, and they lost all 3 games. And when they switched to Sam, I think he lost his first game, and then they won 8 or 9 straight. And we're a lot of people thought maybe the best team in the country and should have a chance to play in the college football playoff. But they lost those first 3 games. But Max Brown had graduated already. And basically, if he would have named Sam the starter, Max would have transferred. And then redshirt freshman and a true freshman backup. This is just whatever the reasoning is, it's hold on, time out. What are we completely changing? You're talking about completely changing from last year that didn't work on offense? It was so broken. Mm-hmm. Why not roll forward with the same thing? At worst, I'm not going to get into who won the competition and who did what in practice and all that stuff, but That I would just say this, and I think JJ's a great kid. I think he's a super talent. But there's just a chance that this is how Jim's legacy ends. Like this is how it ends with Michigan, because there's a lot of people who are sitting here going, wait, why are you doing that? Why the like each play one game? Why the like split it? There's just a lot of like why those going on.
From the coach's perspective too, right? Like you're putting a lot on the line for yourself right here, right? You got a captain, a guy who took you to the college football playoff for the first time since have they even been before? I don't know if they've even been before. It might be the first time. So
let's just say it like this: Michigan's been like not good, like
right for a decent amount. And
like it's not that they're not in the Big Ten; they're like not ranked at the end of the year. Like they've been bad for a while.
So why would you hang your job up on this at this point, right? I think we talk about this a lot of like from a coaching perspective, from a front office perspective of like cover your ass type of deal, right? Like they don't want to say it, but a lot of times coaches and front office people are covering their ass with different moves that they make. He's doing the opposite at this point, right? Like the easy move here is to stay with Cade, your captain, who took you there last year. It's not broke, don't fix it, and move on with the season. It's just, I don't know. I see the talent and I see the ability, but it's just a weird move.
Here's the difference between college pro right here. In the NFL, when somebody makes a crazy move, you know exactly why. The owner made him, the GM made him, or that person made that call themselves, right? There's nobody else. In college, we don't know. I don't know who the most powerful person at Michigan is. I don't know who the most powerful person at any of these schools.
You got to think it's Harbaugh at this point, though.
No, there's people who pays Harbaugh. There's people upstairs. We don't know. I don't know that person's name. I don't know what their role is. I don't know their jurisdiction. And so when I look at this, I go, JJ can't transfer. The fan base, it's crazy. There's 200 million Michigan fans. Like the fan base wants. So I don't know. This is crazy, but there's a chance that this goes great, and there's a chance that this is the ultimate backfire. And a lot of people say I told you so. I don't know. We'll see. All right, next segment. Let's get into throw it deep, check it down. Those of you new to the show, this is where we decide: do we like it? Do we not? If it's open, do I take it? If not, do I just check that thing down? I'll throw it to you first. This is going to be a little special edition here, right? Week 1 last week. What are the overreactions to all the stuff that happens week 1? Even like from a betting perspective, my buddies and I, like anybody who bets games, like who are like do it and pay attention to it, even everybody there says like, yeah, I don't really play week 1. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, you don't know. Great teams play terrible. Terrible teams get a win. So the best time of year to overreact. So that'll be the theme for today. Let's start with the first one. I was at the game. Everybody else in America watched it. Bills at Rams. The overreaction. The Rams are bad this year. Throw that deep or check that down.
I'm checking that down. I think you're throwing it deep on the Bills are really, really good this year, and they're going to be good all year. It's a little bit interesting. I saw something about Kevin O'Connell this morning. You and me both know Kevin O'Connell decently well. In the offense, the Super Bowl hangover for them. They said you saw the Vikings play the Packers this weekend, and they steamrolled. They got Justin Jefferson open like every single time the play was called to get to him. He had 150 plus yards in the first half, 2 touchdowns, and the Rams offense just seemed stale all night, right? Matt Stafford with his elbow, he sailed a couple of them. You could tell that he wasn't really on it. But it's just all these different storylines are interesting, I don't think the Rams are bad. I think their defense is always going to be good. I think Jalen Ramsey and Stephon Diggs, that matchup is incredible. And I think Josh and Stephon Diggs just had their way with him that game, and they showed it. And the Bills are capable of doing that against anybody in the league. I don't think the Rams are bad. I think that's a super big overreaction, and I think they're going to find their stride, and they're going to find who they are as a team, just like a lot of teams do. You saw with the Packers last year. So no, I'm checking it down on that one.
Yeah, I'm checking that down too. I think what the Rams needed, there's no definition for Super Bowl hangover, right? Like that doesn't mean something specifically. That you could have a bad year following a Super Bowl for a lot of reasons. Free agency, you lost players, you have injuries, or your dudes are just, they didn't work hard, they didn't buy back in. There's a lot of different reasons for a Super Bowl hangover, so to speak, but they got some new pieces, and I think it's just hard to get yourself the buy-in from the entire building, the buy-in like coming off of a Super Bowl when you've got there and no one in the building's ever been there before, right? Relatively speaking, I think it's hard to get that buy-in, that grit, that tenacity, like that extra work, all that attention to detail, which is really what it comes down to. Like to get that off of an off season where everybody just had the best year of their life. I think that's harder. But the reason I'm checking this down is because I think what you need in that situation is you need to get your ass whooped in front of everybody. And then you get right back to it, right? They know how to fight like that. They know how to work like that. They know how to execute like that because they just did it. They won the Super Bowl the year before. But whatever reason, lost to OC, lost Von Miller, lost OBJ, whatever new pieces on every team every year. But whatever the reason, I think one thing that can be very helpful is getting your ass beat and then getting 10 days to solve the problems. And the coach can say whatever he wants because nobody can talk. And so no, these guys are going to be just fine. They've got their issues. So do the Bills. So does everybody. So yeah, I'm checking that down. I think the Rams are still one of the teams to beat in the NFC. And like we talked about, I mean, the AFC's loaded. The NFC's not as loaded. The Rams are going to be in the mix at the end, no matter what.
They're always going to be in the mix. I think you're right. I think it's super interesting, like to think about coming off of that, like, and especially because the game was the Thursday night game. The first game of the year. There's nothing else on TV that night. Everyone's been.
Bro, we didn't talk. That was totally a playoff atmosphere. I was at that game. Like that's a play. That felt like a playoff game.
And it probably had more Bills fans than Rams fans that year or at the game.
Yeah, it was hard to tell because all the blue, but like it was pretty. I mean, they used Rams used silent count.
Yeah, they had to, right? In their own stadium after a Super Bowl. Like, can you believe that? It's pretty crazy.
I can in Los Angeles, which is the biggest bandwagon sports fan city in the world. But
right,
anyways,
even after a Super Bowl, man, it's just
crazy. But the Bills travel like that. I went to that Monday night game in Tennessee last year, and shit, it was 70-30 in that stadium. It's crazy, and they were and the Titans were obviously good.
Yeah, so. Such an edge on everybody. Speaking of teams that came out bad in the first week, Packers 2 years in a row. Remember last year, 38-3 against Jameis Winston and the Saints, and then this year. Against a good Minnesota team who I think people are going to see. Kirk Cousins has been playing good for a really long time. He's been playing consistent, and that's going to be a good Minnesota team this year. But the offense without Devontae Adams, and I think when I look at this offense and you think about the offense over the past couple of years of how he's had Devontae as his safety blanket, and Aaron more than anyone else in the league can put the ball in a place to where it's catchable no matter what the coverage is. More than anybody else, he can throw a receiver open. And so having him out there, a receiver who probably has the biggest catch radius in the entire NFL, they're going to make it work no matter what. And we've seen Aaron talk about his struggles with his rookie receivers, his young receivers during training camp. The question is this offense going to be bad without Devontae Adams? And I want to say no because it's Aaron Rodgers and they have great running backs. But I just don't know, man. I don't know if I see it with the offense, and I don't want to come out because it's week one and they figured it out last year and they looked like shit in week one last year. But like Randall Cobb getting to the end of his career, he's a guy that Aaron can count on, but how much can he count on? Like how much can he count on these young receivers? Because he plays with so much timing and anticipation.
Yeah. I mean, is the Packers offense going to struggle this year? I'm throwing that deep. Yeah. I think it's going to be a long year. I mean, you don't just replace Devontae Adams. You don't put another guy out there who's a playmaker who can run. Like, no. The chemistry those guys had, I mean, part of Devontae Adams' greatness, a big part of Devontae Adams' greatness outside of his physical abilities is Aaron Rodgers. Like, those amazing back shoulder catches he caught, yeah, it's the consistent ball placement that trains the receiver to be able to turn a certain way. I agree. I think Aaron, when it comes down to all-time greats, who's the best at putting the ball exactly where they want it every single time? I don't know. I got to think about who's second on that list because Aaron's first for me. Like I've said, like, you know, if somebody asks like who's the best quarterback of all time, like whose best is better than everybody else's, like from a longevity standpoint, I mean, there's some young guys playing at a high level, but it's Aaron. Like, and I still think this is going to be a really, really tough year. Aaron Jones is a great player. But this is, you know, year whatever for him. And can you really use him the ways that you used to be able to complementary a piece like Devontae. So I think this is going to be a tough year. I think coming off of back-to-back MVPs years, we're going to see Aaron have historic or crazy moments. He's going to have crazy comeback wins. He's going to have 10 of the top 50 dimes this year. But I think they're in trouble. I think it's going to be tough. And that defense last night, which is supposed to carry them, they got shredded.
Torched.
So I think this is going to be a really tough year for Green Bay.
Yeah. Super. Yeah.
We'll stay in the NFC. The team that beat them in the playoffs, Trey Lance. Trey Lance is not quite ready to be the starter. Throw it deeper, check it down.
This is tough because you're never really ready to be the starter at that age. We know Trey a decent amount. I really like Trey a lot as a person. I think from who he is standpoint, he's got it in him. Like, he's the guy you want to lead your team. But just from an execution standpoint, and this is my only thing I'll say about this game. We were in the locker room before our game, and in the locker room before the game, they got the TVs up, and they're playing all the other games around the league. And when I saw them warming up, and it was torrential downpour, like, that is my worst fear ever. Like, if you pull up to a game and it's like that, you can't throw the ball 10 yards. So I didn't really see it. The stats kind of reflect that, I think. I don't think it's fair to judge him off of this game. I think Justin Fields had 8 completions or something like that, and he ended up having 2 touchdowns, which got him to win, but he had 8 completions in the rain. So I'm checking it down on this one, to be honest with you. I think the jury's still out right now. He needs to play better from what I've seen in preseason and what people are talking about. We played them in preseason, and he seemed a little off on some throws, but it's preseason. I think we need to give him at least 2 or 3 more games, kind of see how he is as the bona fide starter. Maybe not even 2 or 3 more. Give him a decent amount of time during the season to feel it out and really get comfortable in that role. And who knows, man? I think that's super interesting with Jimmy there. I think it's just such a weird dynamic. I think, from the outside, they're telling everybody that it's great for him. They have a great relationship, but in the back of your head, if you're Trey, you're like, man, I thought I got rid of this dude. Like, I thought this was my team.
I agree. I'm checking this down way too early. Crappy weather. I mean, Soldier Field's tough anyways, torrential downpour. But outside of throw it deeper, check it down here, it doesn't matter. Ready or not, here we go. They picked you. They made the decision. You got to go. Think about the way that every starting quarterback in this league got their opportunity. Pretty much all right, you're up. Whether that was a backup coming off the bench, whether that was – people think that first-round draft picks are just starters and they forget Trevor Lawrence had to split reps with Gardner Minshew all training camp last year. He got 50% of the rep, and then they named him the starter. Deshaun Watson was named the backup first game of the season. And then I can't remember his name. Gets hurt. Tom Savage plays terrible. Deshaun goes in at halftime, second half, and then lights it up and has one of the craziest rookie years before he tore his ACL. Everybody started off as a backup and had to get thrown in there. I mean, Kyler Murray is the first guy that I can remember who was drafted and he's the starter. My brother was the number 1 pick. He didn't play a snap his rookie year. He was a healthy scratch. They wanted to let him get ready for that second year. And so this whole are they ready? Are they not? It doesn't matter. Here we go. And if he would have got more of this, if he would have got more of that, he would have been, but he didn't. It's the NFL. Now, the problem and the bummer is Trey played 1 year of college, and I think he played 2 years in high school. He just hasn't played that much football. He hasn't been the quarterback on a team in a game that many times. But like I just said, doesn't matter. Here we go. You're up. I think it's going to go fine for Trey. He's got a great team around him. He's got a great play caller who can protect Trey from the things he needs protection from, and then can exemplify the things that come really natural for Trey. So I don't think we're going to see crazy numbers. I don't think he's going to be in a rookie. I don't think we're going to see crazy stuff like that. I think we're going to see good football, and he's going to learn before our very eyes. The fan base won't be patient. The media will crush. I just look at it, remove all that shit. I think Trey's just going to get better throughout the season because he's playing.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly too with Shanahan too. He's gonna put him in good situations. Shanahan is a really good play caller, really good schemer, and he's gonna put him in situations for him to succeed. And as a young quarterback, that is the thing you need the most. Is you need your head coach and your coordinator more than anything to put you in a position to succeed and not ask you to do too much. Play to your strengths, guard your weaknesses. And like you said, he's got a great roster. Yeah, we're both checking it down here. I think Trey's got it in him. It's just, let's get some more reps.
Hey, here's my concern. You know how it is when you're a young guy fighting for first downs, fighting through it, taking on another hit, all that stuff. My concern is that when he does run the ball, fighting, trying to do this, trying to do that, that's where injuries happen. So that's my concern. And I think there's a likelihood that Jimmy G plays this year one way or another. And I think those two things happen. I think Trey continues to get better every single week. But if it's not enough, or that fighting for that first down, putting your hand on the ground, all that's my concern. Is you get even Josh, the amount of hits that Josh Allen took his first 2 years versus so now, he's just learned how to run in the league. Like Russell Wilson, you never get to see Russell Wilson get smoked because he knows how to run. He knows how to avoid hits. Trey, you got to play to do that. And so that would be, if I was talking to Trey right now, giving advice, I'd be like, hey, err on the side of getting down. But anyways.
Sure. All right, last one. Pat McAfee recently announced that he's joining College Game Day as a full-time analyst. So the whole time he's going to be there. Also hosting 6 alternate college football broadcasts with Manning's Omaha Productions. So like they did with the Monday night stuff with him and Eli. Throwing it deeper, checking it down on this. I think for College Game Day, which is a show that has kind of been stale for a while, Lee Corso looks like he's about to croak over on the show sometimes, and he's kind of just up there on life support at this point. Putting Pat McAfee up there is the easiest, smartest decision that they've made in a long time to make the show likable again. I remember I was talking to somebody about this the other day. I used to wake up at 6 a.m. West Coast time with my dad in like 7th and 8th grade to watch College Game Day every morning because we were so psyched about all the games coming up. And it's just kind of like not been a thing the past couple of years. So I think this is a hell of a move by them.
I mean, I learned this from Gary Vee. Like, you get into media, whatever it is, you're selling attention, right? And what he does, what Pat's going to do to like College Game Day, he's just going to bring an audience who likes College Game Day, just doesn't watch it that much. He's going to bring them over there. And then the Peyton and Eli, everyone loves Peyton and Eli, but there's a lot of people who don't really care about watching their version. He's going to bring them along too. So I think you're just going to get a ton of awareness with him. I know. And then the energy, those two things. You got energy and you can sell attention like that, then yeah, you're going to make quarterback money, as he says he did.
He made quarterback money. His energy is unmatchable.
It's unbelievable.
And it didn't matter if he was an all-pro punter or not. He could have been like a third string punter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with his past playing experience. He's just, he's incredible.
Shout out to Max.
All right, so throw a deep, check it down. Good little mix of both. And finally, let's do it. Let's get into this interview. We said in the open, excited to interview Tyler Van Dyke, quarterback from the University of Miami. Starting to pop up on some mock drafts, going to be drafted high, Heisman favorites, and all these things. And most people, I think, don't know who Tyler Van Dyke is. I'm excited to talk to him, and let's jump into that interview. Welcome to the show, Tyler Van Dyke, Miami Hurricanes. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. So we were talking a little bit a second ago. You and Kyle, you guys have not met yet. And this is a fun one. So far we've talked to Desmond Ridder. A lot of people are waiting to see what's going to happen there. Rookie. And then JT Daniels for the Backyard Brawl. That was kind of the only game that week. That was a big rivalry game. And then, Kenny Pickett, that was decision-making time for Pittsburgh. And then Josh Allen the week before the season kicks off. So you're our 5th guest on the show. And just, what we're doing here is taking the conversations that you have in the QB room and bringing it out there. I know you a little bit from here and there, Elite 11, stuff like that. But, you're a guy not a lot of people know a lot about. And that's why I kind of are fired up to have you on, because I just genuinely don't know you very well and want to learn more. And what a great time for people to hear another side of you, because they're going to see, in my expectations, they're going to see a high level of quarterback play throughout the rest of this year and huge aspirations or huge expectations, all that stuff. So I'm fired up to kind of dive into it and learn a little bit more about you, man.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate it. Was that a question?
No, and towards the end, I realized that's not really a question. Yeah. It was also an opportunity for Kyle to come in, but this is only
because I'm trying to figure out stuff about him. I was on Twitter all day and Instagram, and
I'm still trying to figure out what to do with my hands.
But what we did find, I thought was cool. Usually we started off with a segment called Teach Tape, where we kind of show where you started out and where you've been, and it's usually funny pictures of you when you're little. But we found a cool picture of you when you were young. Jake, if you could throw that picture up. You're from Northeast, right? You're from Connecticut area. You went to high school up there.
Connecticut, yep.
Somehow ended up down in Miami. Dreaming of one day, 2010, in Miami. That's pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, it is crazy. And I never realized it till like a few years ago. My mom posted that again. So my grandfather, his good friend was Tony Soprano, who was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins back in 2010 for a few years. And we used to come down here all the time and watch the Dolphin games. And I never realized I forgot about those moments back then before I committed to Miami. So it's definitely pretty cool to see that being in like the same stadium that I'm playing in now.
Yeah, when you were getting recruited by schools and Miami came, I mean, it was probably easy for you at that point.
Yeah, Miami was probably my biggest offer. I had schools like Purdue, I had Michigan, UCLA, Cal, some other schools too. And I just felt like Miami was the best opportunity for me to win games there and take Miami back to where it used to be. So,
yeah, I mean, I think that's a big topic that a lot of people have tried to do, like over however many last year since Miami's been good. I know I texted you. We got a lot of people in our locker room that went to Miami. I think you played with one, Brevin Jordan. You were there early when he was there. He went out. He's always talking shit about Miami in the locker room. He needs to stop personally. But, last year we can kind of go into your career a little bit. We can get back to Teach Tape, but, talking about a guy trying to bring it back, you come in last year and I think you may have lost 1 or 2 games since you got in and you got off to a hot start. Like, what was your mindset kind of coming in? Because I know how hard it is to be the backup. Me and Jordan, I mean, I've been the backup my whole career. Jordan's career backup, like coming in for the starter when the starter gets hurt is tough, especially when you haven't spent the whole offseason as a starter. How was it for you and what was your mindset?
Yeah, I mean, coming in as a freshman, I was always the one who would just go to work, not talk much and just show my leadership through working and lead by example. And I just carried that on through my first year and a half. And I always prepared like I was a starter. Derek was the guy in front of me, and I would just learn from him what he did, and just try to copy what he did because he did it the right way. So once it was my opportunity, I felt ready for it, and I just capitalized on it. Was
there like a point in the season you think where you could feel the team start to get that confidence in you too?
Yeah, I would say. The first game I started, we played Central Connecticut, so that was honestly pretty cool. Me being from Connecticut, that was my first start last year.
Awesome.
I knew a few guys on the team, but my second game was Virginia. Struggled a little bit in the first half, but I feel like the second half, that's when I started to be more confident. People started believing in me. And after that, I just felt like everything started to click and everything was just going right.
Let's move on to the next part of Teach Tape. Kyle, what do you got here?
Yeah, so next part of Teach Tape. So we're going to check out some of your plays. What we like to do a lot is like kind of, we're talking about just being in the quarterback room, talking shit, whatever. But also the quarterback room is like where you have the most in-depth conversations. And it's where the team runs through the quarterback room, right? So we got a couple of your plays against Southern Miss. We want to dive into your mind, dive into your like pre-snap thoughts. It's super interesting hearing how other quarterbacks think pre-snap. Where are your eyes at? Like, what are your protection thoughts? Like, are you looking at the safety? Are you looking at the nickel? So we're going to pull up a couple of plays and I want you to just take us through what you were thinking from snap to finish.
Yeah. So this one, we're running the ball well this game and struggling a little bit in the first half to get things going, putting the ball in the end zone. So they were butting pretty well on the runs and knew we can get it behind them. So Coach Gaddis called it at a perfect time. I'm just reading that safety coming down. He bit pretty hard and knew I had Keyshawn number 5 over the top right there.
This is a tough field space to go from the 35 because you can't just let it go and you got to get it up and come down. And you also don't really know on any of these flea flicker or stutter goes or any of that. You never really know how long the guy's going to sell it for. Fair? right? Because if that receiver just shatters for a second and goes, now you're just getting the ball and he's already at the 5 and you don't, now it's a jump ball, back shoulder. I guess when this play gets called, it's also tough to not predetermine that I'm throwing this thing no matter what. I guess what was the concern when this play got called or thing like, hey, we got to do this? Because again, this is from the 35. If it's from the other 35, you can take 3 hitches and let it go.
Yeah, no doubt. We practiced from this play from right about here all week. We knew when we got in the high red zone, we were going to call this play. And yeah, I knew I had to get rid of the ball pretty quickly with running out of space. So if Keyshawn wasn't there, number 5, I would have went on to number 85, going up the sideline there. But yeah, I had to get the ball out quick and just put a nice 2 ball on it, and it ended up being a good throw.
Was this sudden change, or was this just where you were at on the drive?
Yeah, so we scored, and then our defense had a good stop, and then we had a punt return probably about 30 yards to the 35 right there, and this is the first down and 10 right after the punt return.
All right, so this is off the sudden change call sheet then.
So we had to kill out our flea flicker, and it's always so sketchy. Or we had like a 3-tech come right through, and thank God Rex Burkhead picked him up, and we got like a 60-yard gain out of it, but it was right at half. But flea flickers are always sketchy, in my opinion. But when you call from the
you got to take your eyes off the defense. I think it's hard unless they're wide open.
All right, we were looking up stuff for you, or I was looking up stuff on you today, and this was all over Twitter. I mean, this is an absolute dime. I was trying to figure out the concept here. 3rd and 10, what are you guys running? What were you expecting on 3rd and 10 for them to run to?
Yeah, so it was actually a freeze call. Got them to jump off sides. They're a big 2-trap team, 2 high. Played a lot of different ways. They like to blitz a lot, show a lot of different stuff. But they played a lot of cover 3 against us too. And last week they didn't. They played a lot of 2-trap and played a lot of 3 this week. So we got them to jump off sides. 12 is actually supposed to come across the field on a deep over. But he ended up running down the seam. Saw the safety kind of being a little bit lazy, and saw a little hole in there. I could fit it in there and in that tight window, and just let it rip. We had a free play, so.
Yeah, this is just supposed to be 3x1, 4 verts, right?
Yeah.
And there's supposed to be a number 3 coming across. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it looked
when you get those freeze calls, are you checking the sideline? For people who don't know, when we call freeze, you're trying to get the defensive line to jump. When they jump, you snap it and you get a free play. You see Aaron Rodgers do it all the time. Are you checking to make sure they throw the flags? Because I've had that happen before where I thought they threw it and I threw a pick and they did not throw the flag.
Yeah, I check all the time. I mean, I actually had an instance in practice during fall camp where one of our scrimmages, I thought they jumped and they didn't throw the flag, and I forgot to check. Ended up throwing a jump on, and the defense ended up coming down with it. So
sketchy.
I've always make sure to check every time now.
Kyle, in the league, do you have it? I'm not asking what the Texans do or what the Hurricanes do, but if you had it where any play where they jump off sides, we're just going offensive line basically does to field goal block. Everyone squeezes down and outside guys go. You guys have that, even if it's a run play called and they jump. Then
it's more go. It's more of off of the cadence, right? It's just like when you have this cadence in, like I think back like my rookie year, we had like a black cadence with Cam, and it was like black. We got no play called at all, right? And you're just barking out cadences, waiting for the clock. Like you get out of the huddle right away, so the headset's still on, and you're barking out cadences. And if someone jumps, you're going, and if not, they're gonna give you a call in the headset. That was always my favorite to get up on the ball, especially early in the games, just to kind of get them out of their like third down stuff. That was always my favorite.
Yeah, no doubt.
Very cool. Well, let's take it back to Suffield Academy. Man, it's ironic. I almost grew up in Connecticut. My dad got transferred to New York when my brother Carson was a sophomore in high school, and we bought a house in Greenwich. We were moving there, the whole deal, and my brother and I were pretty upset about that. And my dad ended up for 2 years commuting, flying home from New York every weekend so we could stay out here. Wow. And but I almost grew up in Connecticut. How would you describe like Connecticut football to a teammate who's from California or from Florida? Or, I mean, like, how do you describe Connecticut high school football?
We have these conversations in the locker room all the time. Where I went to school was a boarding school, so we were allowed to recruit and get players from wherever. We had kids from Texas, kids from Boston, New York City, everywhere in the Northeast, really. The public school football up there is not good at all. Like they get killed down here in Florida, Texas, California. But I think my team, we were short on numbers, but we had about 15 like good guys, D1 guys that could play at the next level, playing at the next level right now. But other than that, we didn't have depth, so people were going both ways, playing receiver, DB, linebacker, running back. So, but I feel like we could compete. My team could have competed with most teams in the country.
Did you play both ways?
Not me. I didn't play both ways. No.
You could have definitely played outside linebacker.
Yeah, I think I would have played safety if anything.
Free safety, yeah.
Dude, let's talk about boarding school. There's a chance, Kyle, that we're like 3 seasons in on this show and we've interviewed like every quarterback and we never meet another guy who went to high school at a boarding school. Will you describe boarding school to a dude from California and a dude from Arizona who are like, boarding school? I know what a private school is. What's boarding school like?
I mean, yeah, private school, prep school, boarding school. I actually commuted every day. I would drive 30, 45 minutes every day to it, to my school.
But
so
other dudes live there, right?
Yeah, other guys on the team live there. I would stay overnight sometimes, but yeah, you eat dinner there, breakfast, lunch, everything. Dorm check. You got to be in your room by 8 p.m. Yeah, all these strict rules. I mean, people are still in high school, so you got to.
How are the weekends there, though?
The weekends, you could be out until 11. Then you had to be in your dorm by then. So, but you could check out to like day student houses and like go and stay a night there. But then you had to be back the next day. So it was strict, but I mean, I had a good time there. So.
But when you go from, and it's boys only?
No, it's boys and girls.
Okay, so you go from that to Miami, not even University of Miami for a second, just Miami, just South Beach. Like, what's that transition like? Because we all see whether it's somebody who's had a really strict household in high school, goes off to college and falls off the deep end or develops bad habits or starts doing stuff, or freshman 15 or what, like all of a sudden their behavior is and the structure is so different. They have no idea how to handle it. You obviously had football and big aspirations, so you got that guiding you, but like how tough was the transition from boarding school to Miami? Because to be honest with you, from public school to UTEP was like not that crazy. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that different. It's kind of doing the same stuff I was doing in high school.
I think it was pretty similar for me. I mean, Miami is also a small private school. My high school only had 400 kids in it. Miami only has 10,000, so it's pretty similar in size difference in comparison to my high school to other high schools in Miami to other big colleges. So I felt like the transition was smooth for me. Obviously, I mean, I was driving home every day and seeing my parents and living at home, and now I'm doing stuff on my own, living on my own. So, I mean, I feel like it was pretty smooth, honestly.
I don't know about 400 to 10,000 comparing those two. It was a little different in Miami. That's a close comparison.
Miami's a trip, man.
Yeah. I was saying like Miami compared to other big colleges and is like comparable to my school, which is like 400 kids to like a 2,000 kid high school. You know,
I guess when I was at A&M, it's like 70,000 there, I think, and the town was 90,000, and the stadium held 110,000. Well, that's what we were going into next week. Yeah, so get ready for that.
Yeah. I'll be prepared.
So going to Miami. Your last year, you had the quarterback battle last year in camp, didn't win. What do you think you learned from quarterback battle? It was probably your first quarterback battle you've ever had. I remember in high school, I think I had one quarterback battle when I was like a sophomore. And I remember thinking to myself, like, if I don't win this, I'm never going to play football again. That was my mindset in high school. But probably your first real quarterback battle since then. What What was your mindset coming out of it, not coming out as the starter?
Last year.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of knew I was that second guy. They really believed in Derek, that he was the guy, and at that time, I think he was the right guy to play. And Derek's a good player, and learned a lot from him. So I kind of knew I was actually fighting for the second string job.
Okay.
Just trying to win with the second string reps. But yeah, I would always tell myself just keep going, never get too down on myself, and just try to stop thinking about the negative things. Like you said, yeah, when you have a bad day, you always throw a bad ball. And am I a good quarterback? Can I play the sport in the NFL or even at college? It's all about. Yeah, it is a real thought. You just gotta stay mentally focused and know that you're here for a reason and just believe in yourself.
It's so tough when you're in those quarterback battles to not magnify every single like rep in practice. And I've been there before where I've been like, I have like one day in practice where I had like a great day and I'll be like, dude, I should be a starter in this league. Like I should be like out there with everyone. And then the next day I'll like go like 6 for 20 in practice and be like, dude, do I even belong here? Like, should I just like retire today? Like, what's the deal? It's so, especially in training camp when you're just like so locked in, it's so hard not to do that.
Yeah, I feel that.
So looking at this year, things have changed. At this point, heading into this season, very different than heading into last season, right? I mean, you're top 12 in the preseason Heisman odds. I'm going to read you some stats that don't matter, but top 12. I saw some mock drafts. I don't pay attention to them, but only if it catches my attention. Again, doesn't matter, doesn't affect anything. See your name way up there on a couple of them. And you guys are picked to win the Coastal Division, all these like, picks and rankings and all that stuff. I mean, how has the last 12 months been? For what I do, man, I work with quarterbacks of all ages. I've seen a lot of lives change in a short amount of time. I mean, being around Joe Burrow his senior year where his life will never be the same. But before that, it was, you know what I mean? That type of change. Josh Allen's third year was like, okay, your life's never going to be the same now. I've seen that happen in a short amount of time, and I've seen that happen gradually over years. For you, the story, I mean, you guys are only 2 games in, so who knows what happened this year. But just the last 12 months, how has that been? How are you handling that? And if you're handling it well, which it looks like you are, what's the key to that? Why are you handling it so well?
Yeah, definitely. When it was my turn to start, I mean, everything changed. I just told myself, just go out there, have fun at first. I've been playing this game my entire life. Just do what you do best. And ever since that day, I told myself that. I believe I'm one of the better quarterbacks in the country. And, I just have to believe in that. And, I don't know. It definitely changed pretty quickly. And, going back to it, I remember I also had negative thoughts going into it. And each week, I actually lost the first 2 games I started, Virginia, North Carolina. And like Kyle said before, I would have negative thoughts about, should I even be playing at the University of Miami? Am I good enough for this? Because my completion percentage was 50% below that in those 2 games. And after that, we played NC State, and that was probably the most confident I've ever been. I actually said something about NC State, saying that we beat them last year, like 44 to. We scored 44 points on them, and right before the game, I said that, and it made College game day. And ever since that day, I just had extreme confidence in myself, and just handled everything like as a man. So, each day I try to stay off the ranking stuff and seeing all the stuff on Twitter. I deleted Twitter before our fall camp, and I try not to look at that stuff because it can get to people's heads. Sometimes it does get to mine. I just tell myself, just keep going. Don't look at that. Just do what you do best.
It's all noise, right? It's just outside noise. I think me and Jordan talk about confidence a lot, like on here, just in life in general. I think Jordan was the first one to say this, but I think we think confidence is the most important quality a quarterback can have. And I think everyone gets it from somewhere different. You know, everyone has their own story, their own journey. We're going to hear yours later, but everyone gets it from somewhere different. Like, where do you think your confidence derives from? Like, is it way back when? Is it high school? Is it when you were young, or is it new? Like, where does it start for you?
Yeah, for me, I think it just, starts with, I've always been a competitive kid growing up, and I've always felt like I was the better one at every sport I played. So just having that confidence and just going out there and knowing that I can get the job done and knowing that I can do what I do best. Just having my teammates believe in me, trusting my teammates. I feel like the confidence comes through them. But yeah, just believing myself is the biggest thing, and that gives me confidence. And sometimes when things aren't going right, I start doubting myself, and I tell myself, just move on to the next play. Mm-hmm. Like, you're gonna throw a bad ball, every once in a while. Just move on to the next play, and I feel like that just keeps my confidence high, moving along in the game.
Let's talk about the alumni at the U. I think it's the maybe LSU, maybe USC does the, like, when you think of that school, you think of the alumni, like the former players. You know what I mean? Like, when you think of University of Kentucky, you don't like think of the long list of greats. Like, but at the U, it's probably number one, especially guys my age, because I watched them when they had the mirrored visors and their shirts rolled up, and you know what I mean? Like, I remember that. And they're vocal, right? I mean, this is what I think. These guys are soft. These guys are weak. These guys aren't getting it done. These guys are the real deal. Whether it's guys in the Houston Texan locker room or all 32 locker rooms, I'm assuming, or not, there's a lot of noise coming out of the alumni. A lot of them are going to watch this. For some guys who are fragile, that's going to make things harder for them, right? The more it's just more pressure, more expectations. For some guys, they're going to respond negatively to that. You strike me as the guy you started off 0-2, and those are your only 2 losses, right?
We lost to Florida State too last year.
Okay. But for you, the trajectory that you're on, the way that you're playing, the way that you've been playing, clearly that's not having a negative effect, it's having a positive effect. What has that that alumni, those former play, and I know, Ray, Ed, those guys were Ravens when I was a Bengal. Like, vocal's an understatement. What's that do for you? All these alumni.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Coach Reed, Ed Reed, he's actually on staff with us now.
I didn't know that.
He's actually been there this is his 3rd year already. So, just talking to him and understanding his thoughts of what safeties are doing, it's pretty cool to learn from. Obviously, one of the best safeties to ever do it. So it's pretty cool to learn from. Alonzo Highsmith just joined the staff. Just having those guys around it's incredible, and just the knowledge that they learned from over these years, it's pretty cool to see. And I have Steve Walsh, Bernie Kosar, these guys from
Bernie's a trip. I've been around Bernie. Yeah. He's a trip.
Yeah, he's always at practice talking to me and texting me, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, all these quarterbacks from back in the day texting me, calling me, it's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool, man. That's Ed Reed on staff talking to you about what safeties are doing. That's different, bro.
Yeah.
It's a best case scenario.
And then you guys got Cristobal there as well. Cristobal has been a great coach. He's bounced around a little bit. He said that the thing that you've improved on most this year from last year is your leadership. And I think obviously leadership is really important as a quarterback, as anyone who's going to lead the team. But I also think it's super important for coaches to put you in a position to lead. I think coaches can tell you, get better at leadership. You need to be a better leader. But until they put you in a position to lead, it's tough to be that leader. How has he put you in different positions to lead?
Yeah, last year, I got thrown into it. Obviously had to expect it, but didn't expect it at the same time. So that leadership role kind of came up on me fast. So I feel like last year was I took a big step in my leadership role. Obviously this year I'm the guy now, so had to be more vocal, had to be that true leader of the team, that guy that everybody depends on. But yeah, we have a leadership council. So every week we meet with Coach Cristobal, Coach Feld, the strength coach, and just talk about what we need to improve on, whether it's football or just operations-wise with the program. And before each game, he calls on one of the leaders to give a speech. So I had to do it this past week, and yeah, those are some ways he just tries to get the leaders involved.
How'd the speech go? Did it go good?
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Nice. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so moving forward, got A&M this week. Man, I was watching a bunch of college games. You know, anybody that I work with, I'm watching them fast forwarding to their defense. There's like Saturday's nuts at my house. And Mike, who you met, who coaches with me, texts me. He's like, A&M about to go down because I wasn't watching that game. And I click over and I'm like, are you kidding me? Are they going to lose this game? We got this interview scheduled. I wanted you to go in there so bad, right? It doesn't change anything. You still got to play A&M, and they're still really good. But where were you watching that game? What was your reaction? Like, what's the vibe in the locker room? Like, you know, talk me through that game. So, you know, A&M losing at home to Appalachian State. I remember when Chad Henne and the Michigan Wolverines lost to App State when they were ranked 5th in the country. Shout out Corey Lynch for blocking the field goal. Played with him for a handful of years. But, like, where were you guys at, and what was the vibe?
Yeah, so we just finished our game when it started. Probably got back to my apartment at, 5 o'clock and turned on the second half. And, yeah, it was a close game. I was like, wow, App State's hanging in there. I knew App State was a good team. They put up 61 against North Carolina the week before. So I knew they were going to give them a little competition. So, yeah, I just came back to my apartment, watched it, and I was like, wow, they're going to lose right now. And we had a group chat, the offensive guys, and we were hoping that A&M would win for the reason you said, that we wanted to take them down before anyone else did. So.
Yeah, and there's supposed to be college game day there. So Appalachian State gets $1.5 million to play them. They beat them, and now college game day is not going to A&M. It's going to App State.
No way. Is it? I didn't see that.
They stole the game day from them, too.
Who were they playing?
Yeah. James Madison.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
App State's like that.
Yeah.
Nice. We also saw after your last game, there's a bunch of reports on Twitter, which you don't have, so you probably didn't see it. I'm sure you heard it, though, that you weren't pumped about the performance, so you stayed after and threw with the receivers after the game. Is it true?
We threw this morning.
Okay, there you go.
I ended up throwing last night, yeah. But I was
going to say, receivers were probably going to be pissed at you if it was after the game.
Yeah. But I watched the film. Missed a few throws that I should have missed, uncharacteristic of me, and just have to go in there with a better mindset next game and just be more confident about it. So,
yeah, what do you think it is? Because I think there's some games where you're dialed in and you're hitting every throw, and there's some games where you just miss some, or it's just not you. You know, it's uncharacteristic, like you said. Is it like a fundamentals thing, or is it like a mindset thing for you when that happens?
I think that this past game it was fundamentals. I'm just getting away from it a little bit. I was still 21 of 30, 70%, but I should have been 28 of 30. Just missed throws that I should never miss, and I never really miss. So they just have to be a little bit better.
Yeah, you guys don't realize this in college. You will when you get to the league. Just the value of preseason. In college, you don't have a preseason, so you're ironing stuff out. I talked to a lot of college quarterbacks on late Saturday night, Sunday. About yesterday, and a theme through week 2 for several starters has been we're shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, the dumb holding penalty, the PI that we got, the running into the kicker. I can go down the list. But you're so focused on Miami, that's the only thing you're paying attention to, or whatever team the quarterback's on, that I'm sitting here going, well, I just watched 14 games, and everybody is. Bama almost lost to Texas because they're shooting themselves in the foot, sorting out, making mistakes that they don't typically make. That's the whole point of playing cupcakes early. So, I think part of that is you guys need to work on those fundamentals, but bigger part of it is live bullets are flying. It's a real game, ironing it out. So that's awesome that you're taking the initiative and addressing it, but at the same time, certainly not a reason to sound the alarm, like you said, missing throws and going 70%. Not a bad day at the office. Looking forward to A&M. What do you, without, you're not going to give away the game plan and here's what we're going to do and all that stuff, but like, what do you like about this matchup? I'll leave it as vague as that. What excites you about playing them outside of Kyle Field is a dope spot to play? Kyle Allen knows a lot
Named
about
after me, if you didn't know.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah, but I think it's a great opportunity for us to go in there and show what we've been working on the entire offseason. Show them that, Miami's a good team and that we can win these games. I think in the last few years, the last 3 SEC teams we played, Miami's got blown out. We had Bama last year, and then a few years ago LSU, then lost to Florida in 2019. So I think it would be a good opportunity for us to go play an SEC team, and I'm excited for it. I think the biggest stadium I played in last year was Florida State, so this is going to top it. But yeah, we're excited. We like our matchup. Obviously, they're a good team. Got great players on defense, really good defense. We only gave up 2 touchdowns the entire season so far. So, we're excited to play them.
Kyle, do you have any advice going into Kyle Field?
I was just trying to think of that. I was trying to think of any way that you could get an edge up on them, and it's just
So for you don't know and viewers don't know, so Kyle went to Texas A&M,
2 years
started
ago.
as a true freshman. He was the quarterback that followed Johnny Manziel.
yeah. So
Gotcha.
I guess the one thing you have going for you is in Miami, you probably have like a bunch of cheerleaders on the sidelines, and when you go to A&M, there won't be that distraction. There'll just be a bunch of guys in white get-ups. So like your eyes will be dialed
military.
in this game. You'll be good. Yeah. A lot of military. It is probably, I will say though, Kyle Field is the dopest place I've ever played in my life. It's going to be a great
Including
experience.
NFL?
New Orleans is sick. I haven't played in KC yet. I really want to play in KC. I think we actually play in KC this year, but there's like Kyle Field, like there's nothing like the energy of a college football game. When you watch college football on Saturday and then you go and watch NFL football on Sunday, or like we're in our stadium this weekend in Houston for the game, the energy is like night and day. Like watching the Texas-Alabama game and seeing the energy in there, it's just not the same. And then when you go into Kyle Field, and this will be the biggest matchup of the year for them, they've been itching. There's people out there on Tuesdays like camping out to get tickets, and they're sleeping 3 nights out there. I just think like, be where your feet are. You seem like a very simple, like chill dude. Like be where your feet are and take it in, because I think playing at Kyle Field is my favorite place I've ever played.
That's awesome. Do you like home games better or away games?
I like away games better.
Same.
Miami.
Most quarterbacks
Miami,
say that, yeah.
We don't really have much of a college atmosphere because we play at Hard Rock, so we're about 45 minutes away from campus. So a lot of students will go up and watch the game, unless it's like a big game. But that's why I like going into away stadiums and seeing that college atmosphere and playing there and making the crowd quiet.
Did you like away games better, Jordan? Why do you think most quarterbacks do?
Because what he just said right there at the end. I think there's something when you silence a crowd, like when you throw a touchdown pass on 3rd and long, right? So it was just as loud as it gets, and instantly it just got quiet. And the only people celebrating are the people who actually put in the work with you.
Yeah.
The coaching staff, the trainers, equipment manager, the people on the sideline, and the players. And it's just something super. Some of my most memorable like games that I was a part of were just like huge road wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
So, last question here before we get into the next segment. So, how many offers did you have coming out?
I had, I think, 23 offers.
23 offers.
Yeah.
So 23 head coaches offered you. Did Jimbo Fisher offer you?
He did not, no.
Does that mean anything to you? Does that do anything for you? Is there anything there?
Not really. I came from Connecticut, so a lot of school. I never was recruited in the SEC at all. Vanderbilt, Kentucky. But yeah, not really. I can care less about that. Just want to go in there and with my teammates and get that win. So
yeah, it's a bummer because they've just continued to be a quarterback away. But no, that's fired up for that. Well, let's get into Self Scout here, Kyle. So we're gonna ask you a series of questions. Okay, little trivia, and we're gonna score it. Okay. Are you starting to sweat? There's beads of sweat. Don't get nervous, dude. This is not that big a deal. It's okay.
Slightly
Who-
glistening.
I think
who's-
it's the lighting.
Yeah, who was terrible at this?
JT
Who's in
was
last place right
terrible. JT was horrible.
JT Daniels went like 1 for 6.
He was overthinking it though. He's just like trying to use his smart brain, overthink it.
Yeah, that he does that. All right, so you are a proud son of Connecticut. We've talked about that a little bit. Who is the highest drafted quarterback from the state?
Drafted quarterback from the state. Steve Young.
Steve Young's from Connecticut?
Yeah, Greenwich.
What round did he go?
I don't know that, but it might be Dan
We have
Orlovsky.
the answer here is Dan Orlovsky, but we need to check on that because I kind of feel
Yeah, we
like,
need to check on that.
oh no, Steve Young was like unless I'm tripping, I think he was like a
He might have been
14th rounder or
undrafted.
something.
Was he? Okay.
Yeah.
Then, Dan Orlovsky. That was my second guess.
Okay,
The
so
first
Dan was a 6th
overall in
round
the
pick.
supplemental draft.
Yeah.
Is that accurate? Did you just read that?
I read that on the internet.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah. All right, so
I think we got to give a half point there because we got supplemental draft. We got weird things going on there.
I didn't know that. That's a good fact.
that's Jake weighing in there, our producer and creator of this. Yeah, so we'll give you an asterisk because we gave Kenny Pickett an asterisk too because we asked him a question and he looked over about how many games his fiance's soccer program, and he like looked over there and she gave him the answer and we caught him cheating red-handed. We put an asterisk next to that one. We'll put an asterisk next to that one because that's kind of Jake's bad. I'm glad Jake got to get introduced here so we can go ahead and blame him for that one. But
Thanks, Jake.
yes, the specific question should have been in the NFL draft. But yeah, Orlovsky.
What round was
the man.
Orlovsky? Do we know?
Pretty sure I just remember it being a 6th round pick because he was a year ahead of me. I was a 6th round pick. We had the same agent. We kind of threw together the first couple off seasons. He's a super good buddy of mine and killing it right now. All right. So 1 for 1 with an asterisk. Kyle, you go next.
All right. So there's not really a right or wrong answer for this, but I want to get your take on it. So you've been doing a bunch of NIL stuff. NIL seems to be popping off at Miami, by the way. It seems to be a great spot for NIL. You did a pretty good commercial for College Hunks.
Tyler, want to play?
Sorry, kid. I got a job to get to.
Is that college star quarterback Tyler Van Dyke?
I heard he got a job. Good for him.
Tyler, you got a job? It's more than a job. It's a culture. Better movers, better pay. College Hunks is building leaders every day. Join the winning team.
Really good acting skills. You seem pretty confident looking at you about this right now. So put on the polo, getting in the truck, moving boxes. The real question is, since you've done that partnership for them, since they've paid you for your work, how many boxes have you actually moved?
0.
There we go.
Yeah.
Way to put in the work.
We could have put the over under it a half and we would go from there.
Half,
Yeah.
yeah.
How is it with the
all right.
NIL stuff? Have you think you've done like the most on the team out of everybody? But it seems like Miami is going crazy with NIL.
Yeah, I think probably the most on the team. I mean, we have like NIL programs, a few boosters. One's called Life Wallet. A lot of guys on the team have it. A lot of athletes in Miami have a deal with them. So, which is pretty cool. Get out that money in athletes' pockets here. So cool.
Can you send us some merch? Some Van Dyke
I
merch?
need some merch. We're gonna be sending you some merch, by
merch? Yeah.
I saw it on your Instagram today. I'd like at least a hat or something. I'll rock the Van Dyke hat next time.
Yeah, I got you.
the way. Our boy Bear sent him a Jackson hat. Here he is. Next day, rocking it. All right, next question. There's Heisman odds, your top 12, whatever that means. Speaking of Heisman, who was the first Hurricane to win the Heisman?
I mean, I know the two. Let's see if I'm right on this. Is it Vinny Testaverde?
That's right.
Ooh, it is. I'm going to throw in a bonus for you. I'll remove the asterisk off the first one, and you'll just straight up be 3 for 3 if you can tell me what year.
1983.
Ooh, close. That's a really good guess. 1986. There's no way in hell I would have known that anyways. bad with that stuff.
Testaverde's a legend.
Yeah, dude. Testaverde, low-key, was like the first guy to play till he was 40. I mean, that was bananas when he was 40. And he was like getting called off the street to play 2 games, and people were freaking out of the fact that a 40-year-old, and now, I mean, Aaron's got 5 more years. Russ has got 7. It's crazy. You want to take the next one, Kyle?
Yep. So you grew up in Connecticut. You're used to the cold winters. Moved out of there, get to Miami. It's only snowed 1 time on record in Miami. What was the date that it snowed? Just give us the year.
Actually, someone told me this about a year ago. I'm trying to remember the date or
the year.
Just give us the year. The date's a little too specific.
2006.
97. That's tough.
1997. Okay.
That's funny that someone told you that. It's such a random thing to be talking about.
Yeah, it is.
Where's he at? 4 for 5?
He's
3 for 4.
He's 3 for 4 right now. He's
3 for 4. All right. So one of them's at Arkansas. One of them is at Penn State. Yeah. Are they playing? Are they like guys?
The one at Arkansas he's like a second string DB. He plays a little bit. He rotates in there, and then Jaden, he's also a rotator in there. They don't start, but they should.
Question: yeah. What are their college numbers?
They're both 19.
I
know that just because, I mean, obviously they're my guys, but I also, when I came to Miami, I was 19 too. So all 3 of us were 19.
Sweet.
What and why'd you pick your number now?
I was 9 in high school, so I just, after Brevin left, Brevin was 9. I asked Coach Diaz if I could switch to 9.
And why were you 9 in the first place?
Growing up, I was actually 8. And then I went to my high school, and we had like old jerseys, and they didn't have number 8. They only had 9, so I just wore 9. Just kept with it. So
it wasn't like because of a guy like Drew Brees or something like that?
No.
Why were you 8?
I think that was my favorite number growing up. 2nd grade when I first started playing football.
Okay, so this is more of an elementary thing where it's just like, I just like the shape of the number 8.
That's why I went with 8 in Washington. I liked it because it was symmetrical. It was nice. All right, 4 for 5. That was good. We got one more. Obviously at Miami right now in the ACC. When is the last time that Miami won the ACC Coastal?
2017.
That's correct. It's locked
let's
in.
go. Locked
Fun
in.
fact, when they debuted the turnover chain, which you guys don't have anymore, right? You retired the turnover chain?
Yeah, Cristobal took it away this year.
Smart. It's run its course.
That's not a bad thing at all. Those things are getting obnoxious. I feel like that was it was the turnover chain, and everyone else has their own version, but that was the first anything turnover, right? I mean,
it was
before that, it was like high fives and running chest bumps, right? I mean,
I like when they have like the trash can though, and they like go and like alley-oop dunk the trash can. That one's sweet.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. I think you're in first place, bro. I mean, maybe these questions weren't hard enough. Maybe, like Kyle said, you're just locked in, but I think you're the clubhouse leader through 5 weeks here of the room. So congrats on all your success. Who knows how this is going to go in football, but in trivia, not a bad start. So lastly here, we're going to get into something we call the 2-minute drill. Last segment. We're going to hit mute on our microphones. I think one of my favorite parts of what I get to do for a living, I mean this, but also my real job, coaching quarterbacks. I love playing. It's the guys, it's the journeys, it's the dudes' stories. I don't really remember that many games and I don't remember that many playbooks or anything like that. But you remember the dudes and the journeys. And I've heard a lot of guys' journeys and thought this was a great platform for you guys to share yours. So we're gonna put 2 minutes on the clock. This is the 2-minute drive, and you can start this wherever you want to start this, but it ends right here, right now, in the present moment. But I'll give you the floor here to just kind of, what's your journey, the highs, the lows, the success, the adversity that's got you to the position that you're in right now?
Yeah. So growing up, I was always the guy in my town, and then going in 9th grade, the head coach's son, he moved into town, He was previously living in another town, and he was also a quarterback. And I went to my public school. I played on the freshman team, was a quarterback on the freshman team there, and played a little bit of JV. And his son was also a quarterback. He played receiver there on the freshman team, and then after practices, he would bring him up as a quarterback and me as a receiver. So it was totally switched. And I was like, at that point, I'm going to find a new school, private school. So I went to Suffield Academy, actually repeated my freshman year there. So I did 5 years of high school. Was originally in the class of 2019 and went to 2020. And my first 2 years, there was a junior and senior there before me, and split time with them. And my sophomore year, I actually broke my hand. I was out most of the season. That's probably one of my lowest points. Didn't think I would be recruited anymore, and just kind of persevered through that. Got to college, or started getting offers my junior year of high school, and going to camps, doing all the camp summit over that summer, and ended up picking Miami. Went to college. My freshman year, actually got COVID twice. Was competing for the backup job, and ended up being third string my freshman year. And my sophomore year was also the backup, and obviously Deer got hurt, and was ready for my opportunity. And that was probably the highest moments of my life, and that's love.
You're good, bro. Keep going. It's more of just a 2-minute drill.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, yeah. Started playing. Obviously, like Jordan was saying, my life changed after the first few games, and just kind of took it and rode from there. And ever since then, just played with confidence. And now I'm here where I'm at now. So hopefully it just keeps getting higher. Obviously, there's going to be adversity through the journey, but just got to keep going with it and keep fighting.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing it. I mean, Connecticut to Miami, and then wherever is in store for you in the future. It's a pretty crazy story. Just lastly, I mean, how good is Miami this year? Like, how good can you guys be? You win in the rest of your games. Like, what's your mentality here beyond A&M?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're one of the better teams in the country. I think our defense from last year is going to be really good, really improved. A lot of young guys playing last year that really are taking the next step now, and brought in a few transfers that are going to help us too. And so I think that's going to help our team out tremendously. Last year we had to score 30 points to win the game. And this year I think it's going to help us out, kind of take the stress off the offense, that pressure off the offense. But we have playmakers on offense too. We have a few good running backs, receivers, and I think we're going to be a really good team. And I mean, hopefully we can compete with those alpha teams up there, and we'll see. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good year for us.
Well, man, you got A&M, you got North Carolina, VTech, Virginia, playing Florida State. You're at Clemson, finish up the season at Pitt. Man, I think you're off to a hot start. Big win this coming weekend versus, I don't care what happened last weekend, A&M is A&M. And you got a chance to, you're in position A, right? You're 300 yards right down the middle with a perfect lie. Got an opportunity to really take this. And I'm stoked we got to kick it and get to know you better, because I'm certainly going to be watching a little bit differently moving forward. And Kyle, you got any thoughts? Not a question, just like he's in a good spot right now. I'm putting you on the spot.
Dude. I always enjoy when we do these with guys that we haven't really met before. Jordan, I know you know most of these guys, but some of these guys I haven't talked to. So I think you're in a great spot. I think just from my previous experience, and I think you kind of already got this down, but just be where your feet are, man. Just enjoy the journey, enjoy where you're at. Like, you're with your boys playing college football. It's like you said, you're just trying to have fun out here, man. And I think you already got a good grasp of that. So I think just keep having fun. Like, you've rode the lows, you're riding the highs right now. You got a great opportunity this weekend. It's like you said, like, the only way to find out is to go and do it. So just keep your head up. Keep playing great, man. I'm pumped to watch.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you.
And what I always tell guys is like, dude, don't give anybody too much credit. They got to play against you.
Exactly.
That could be a problem. So
Yeah.
enjoy it, man. Thanks a lot for joining us. Thanks for taking some time. Big game. Enjoy Kyle Field and the whole experience, and bring that dub back to the U.
I'm trying. That's the goal. So appreciate you guys.
Well, I think that was what we were hoping for, right? I mean, a dude we didn't know a lot about, got to learn more about. There's all sorts of personalities in football, I think, but loud, quiet, this, that. The thing you got to be, though, is I think you got to be consistent and predictable as a leader. Like your teammates got to know what they're going to get every day. And coming out, I don't know, my impression was like, I think the guys in the locker room there know exactly what they're going to get. They can expect that. They can count on that and rely on that. Seemed like a super mature dude.
Yeah, you can kind of feel the quiet confidence from him in that. And I think the consistency is there. I think you can feel him simplifying everything in his life and what he does just to focus on football. And it seems like he's just so locked in on football. Like the guy's dialed, and he's got a great opportunity this weekend against A&M. An opportunity with the schedule. When we looked at it, if you can get past this week and kind of get to the end of the season, you got a chance to do something big. So a lot of high expectations for him at the beginning of the year. I think he's handling them super well. That was a great interview, and I think it's one that people don't know much about him. I remember we were trying to dig up stuff on him. I couldn't find anything on him.
Yeah. But stoked to get a chance to talk to him, and Kyle, stoked to get a chance to talk to you as well, bud.
Thanks, man. It's always nice to catch up once a week, even though you text me all the time.
Yeah. Well, as we usually wrap the show, if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Please share this. Look, we're trying to get this thing going here. We think this is going to be big and pop, and it's going to be the smartest conversation in football. But like brands and YouTube doesn't think that until a ton of people watch this. So that's the goal here. Give us some feedback. It's still early. We're going to read the comments. We're going to see what people say feedback-wise. So please give that to us if you have it. Some of you who are watching this, who are friends and all that stuff, have given me great feedback. I appreciate it. But let's do what we always do. Let's end with a moment of gratitude right now. Talking about right now where our feet are. We talk about being where our feet are a lot. What are we grateful for? Kyle, start with you, man. What are you grateful for right now?
It's a little tough for me after the tie. I'm not going to lie. I'm in an interesting spot mentally. But I will say from a family perspective, what I'm grateful for is my little niece was having some health issues for a while. And we just got a text today in our family group chat that she's back to normal levels and she's stable and she's feeling great. She's feeling healthy and she's getting her energy back. So I know you know this from football season. You know, you bounced around to a bunch of teams. You're kind of away from family for 6 months out of the year. You're getting texts from them. You're getting calls every now and then, but you really got to get your family time in from January to April. And so it's always weird, especially my brother has 2 kids now, not being able to see them grow up a lot and just kind of living through pictures. So thankful for that, and hopefully get more family time in the future. What about you?
So I don't know if you know this, but it's been super hot and super humid in California. It's been mine's kind of dumb, but it's the first thing that came to my mind. Yeah, it's been like hot,
like 100 degrees almost.
No, like 100 degrees every day for like a week or two, and humid. It's weird. And I'm one of the few people who live in Southern California who have lived other places. I've lived in Jacksonville. I've lived in Virginia. I've lived in Texas. I've lived in Ohio. I've lived in Buffalo. You know, I've lived in a lot of places. And so, yeah, my wife and I have spent multiple times here in the last 2 weeks going like, this is just a taste of what the rest of the country is like for months. And you're a guy who lives in Dana Point in the off season and is currently residing in Houston, Texas. So this should hit home. Yeah, my wife and I are just like, yeah, I'm stoked we live in California, that this is like, you know, a hot streak of 2 weeks and not 4 months. So mine's dumb. It's weather, but it's what I'm grateful for. Sorry.
It won't be like that if you move to Nashville, though. Don't forget that.
No, it was a conversation. It was like, yeah, it's like this for like 4 months in Nashville. And, you know, it's hard to do stuff with the kids and it's hard to this. And Dottie's pregnant. And so like it's just.
And there's no organic
hot and humidity is not helmet.
Like,
and there's no organic tree juice bar. Anyways, so that's what I'm grateful for. But I'm grateful for that, and I'm fired up for week 2. Bunch of good matchups, bunch of big games. Thursday night football, Kansas City taking on the Chargers. That's a game everybody wants to watch. Yeah, I'm fired up, man. This is going to be a great week. As far as next week, we'll see. Talking to a couple of people, but we want to hear from you guys. We want to bring college and pro. We've got some of the best guys in the league lined up, but we also have some spots open. So we want to hear from you. Who do you want to hear from? And if you throw a name in there also, what questions do you want asked? We can create whatever we want here. So send those in as well. Appreciate it. Kyle, thank you. If you listen to this point, thank you as well. And we'll see you next week.
Doses. See ya.